The two brothers have been untouchable in the Black Stars team for years, sometimes even making selections for coaches, and going as far as resorting to black magic to create injuries for their main competitors in the team. POV. You watched the 2010 FIFA World Cup in South Africa where Ghana's Black Stars were Africa's shining light at the tournament. They were just a whisker of a dropping ball away from making the semi-finals, which would have been Africa's first at the time. Unlucky they were a star striker. Asamoah Gyan missed his penalty within the last moments of extra time. But even with that, the Black Stars exiting the World Cup at the quarter-final stage was still such a monumental feat and in fact, a proud moment for Ghanaian football. That was definitely something to build on, everyone thought. But it has been 14 solid years down the line and the Black Stars of Ghana have not only disappointed Ghanaians but also broken the hearts of all foreigners who once loved the team from afar. But what really went wrong? While many have cited embezzlement and political interference as primary reasons for the fall of Black Stars, it is extremely difficult to link those to why the players underperform on the pitch because the Black Stars are one of the most well-resourced football teams across Africa. We are talking about a team that took $8.5 million budget to the AFCON in Ivory Coast just 3 months ago when the prize money for winning the tournament was only $7 million. So, it is definitely not a problem of money. And it is not a lack of talent too because the likes of Mohamed Kudus, Inaki Williams, Antoine Semenyo, Ernest Nuama, are tearing it apart in Europe with their respective club teams. Amongst them are the ever-present Ayew brothers, Andre and Jordan, who are currently the captains of the team. Andre, particularly, has been with the team since 2008 and so, you would think his longevity deserves some plaudits, right? But no, Andre's overstayed welcome at the Black Stars, together with his stagnant average at best brother, Jordan, are the main reasons why the Black Stars have stalled in their development over the years. And this goes deeper than you think. From conflicts over Black Stars' captaincy, to sabotaging the team in ways ordinary minds cannot comprehend. The two brothers have been untouchable in the Black Stars team for years, sometimes even making selections for coaches, and going as far as resorting to black magic to create injuries for their main competitors in the team. But how did we even get here? The normal procedure within a football team dictates that every player's status is earned, but for the Ayew brothers, their high ranks within the Black Stars were freely handed to them by authorities. All problems of the Black Stars today can be traced to an incident that happened 11 years ago at the presidency. Prior to the 2012 Africa Cup of Nations, Black Stars head coach at the time, Kwesi Appiah, sensed insubordination from the Ayew brothers, who undermined his authority by choosing to report to training camp at a later date. For that, Kwesi Appiah, just like any regular leader would do, took the bold decision to drop Andre and Jordan from his final 23-man squad altogether to set a good example for the squad. But Ghanaians love the Ayew brothers so much, especially Andre, due to his heroism for which he captained Ghana's under-20 side to World Cup glory in 2009. Gambling with the people's love, the Ayew brothers countered Coach Kwesi Appiah's decision with their permanent retirement from the team. Enormous pressure mounted on Coach Appiah and the Ghana Football Association as fans demanded that the Ayew brothers be brought back. In the rash of events, the president of the land, His Excellency John Mahama, stepped in, invited the Ayew brothers to the Flagstaff House and resolved the dispute between all parties. Well, the president may have been advised to step in for the interest of Ghanaian football, but what his advisors failed to point out to him is that, by stepping in, Coach Appiah and the GFA's authority had been limited forever, and the Ayew brothers in turn had now been granted unlimited power in the team. Because at the meeting with the president, the brothers requested for assured game time, and even proceeded to make complaints about some of the team's management members, all of which the president pledged to address. From there, the brothers made the U-turn to the Black Stars in 2013, but as important players of the team now, the Ayew brothers were now present in every Black Stars call-up irrespective of club form. The law of meritocracy that meant only deserving players were to be called up was forever broken. The Ayew brothers would become core members of Black Stars teams that continually failed at one international tournament after the other, from the World Cup in Brazil 2014, all the way to the Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast 2024. And like clockwork, with every tournament, The Black Stars returned home with more chaos in their dressing rooms than actual good performances on the football pitch. In 2014, at the World Cup, it was dispute with the FA over unpaid bonuses. Then in subsequent AFCON campaigns, there were claims of some players using black magic in camp which sparked panic and alienation in other players, and then, finally, the captaincy brouhaha at Egypt 2019 between Gyan and Andre Ayew. Rather unsurprisingly, the Ayew brothers have been at the heart of all these mess. Beginning with the captaincy issue, legendary striker of the team, Asamoah Gyan, who had been named captain of the Black Stars since 2014, was surprisingly stripped off the captaincy in favor of Andre Ayew ahead of the AFCON 2019 tournament. And it was not as if Andre Ayew was in any peak form for club or he merited it in any way, as sources claim the decision was rather not football related. Spiritual reasons that must have been then. And you see, this was not the first time captaincy picks within the Black Stars had undergone a shady twist. The 1992 Golden Squad that lost the AFCON on penalties had similar issues when captain before the tournament. Kwesi Appiah was stripped off the armband in favor of Abedi Ayew Pele, father of Andre and Jordan Ayew, on basis that the former could not speak French. The Black Stars, however, made it to the final of that AFCON, but Abedi was booked in the semis versus Nigeria and as a result could not feature. That meant another captaincy decision befell the team's managers. Then again, another controversy ensued as the immediate vice-captain, Tony Yeboah, was overlooked and the armband was passed on to Tony Bafo. Abedi Ayew was behind that decision as well. This petty issue created factions within the team and eventually broke them as they went on to lose the final and also failed to qualify Ghana to any edition of the FIFA World Cup. 27 years later, and what do we have here? Abedi's son, Andre, fighting over captaincy in the Black Stars team. It is a family thing. To tell you what, this was not the first time the Ayew family had been done favors in the national team. In 2009, ahead of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, Andre Ayew was strangely named captain when in fact, he was new to the squad and had never played a minute of the qualifiers. So, that the Ayew family receiving preferential treatment within the national team is definitely a recurring theme which has only started to blow up recently again. Football lovers who have followed the Black Stars for years believe the team started falling apart in Brazil, where players decided not to train until they received their bonuses. And the consequences of that indiscipline meant the old players like Sully Muntari, Prince Boateng and John Boye were exiled from the team indefinitely. But again, we will refer you back to the return of the Ayew brothers as the mark of the Black Stars' decline. Since the brothers returned to the side in 2013, now with new unlimited powers, close sources reveal that the brothers have been allowed to share rooms tournament after tournament. And at every tournament, they reportedly brought along their malum for some sort of spiritual protection and enhancement. Legendary striker, Asamoah Gyan has been one of the few former players who have come out to confirm that indeed black magic exists in the Black Stars. He is not the only one, as former striker Derek Boateng is also of the same notion, and once even highlighted that the black magic these spiritual players use sometimes smells so bad that teammates and team officials are unable to enter their rooms. While none of them mention names, it will interest you to know that since the Ayew brothers' return, strangely enough, players who have seemingly been competing for starting spots with the brothers have all literally ended up picking long-term injuries year after year. First name that comes to mind is the forward, Kwesi Appiah, who in 2015 kept Jordan Ayew out of the starting 11. Appiah had a very fluid partnership up top with Gyan as the Black Stars rained goals in the AFCON 2015 en route to the final. But that was going to be last time Appiah would don the national colors with pride, as an injury he picked up at the tournament meant he would be out for a long time. Appiah would later return from injury but would never be that exciting player he once was, not for the Black Stars and definitely not for his club, Cambridge United. Before Kwesi Appiah was Juventus midfielder Kwadwo Asamoah. The versatile midfielder who donned the Black Stars number 10 jersey from 2008 had to drop the number 10 jersey in 2012 for reasons not so clear to anyone. And as expected, Andre Ayew gladly picked both the number and position up thereafter. But it was more than a jersey number issue for Asamoah, who now had to resort to self-imposed timeouts on national team duties to deal with injuries he picked up while playing for Ghana, of course. His Black Stars career ended real quick. Freiburg creative midfielder Daniel Kofi Chur, who has been out for over a year now due to injury, can also be mentioned among the list. He came to the Black Stars team at a time when Andre Ayew had fallen out of favor in the eyes of Ghanaians. The expectation was that Kofi Chur would keep Andre out of the team, but guess who has been out of the game for a long while now? The likes of striker Abdul Majid Waris and midfielder Thomas Partey, who have consistently been plagued with injuries since joining the Black Stars, would all beg for a mention. They all certainly could not be tagged as bad luck. The Ayew brothers are living proof of the saying that you either leave when the applauds are high or you stay around long enough to see yourself become the villain. Since making their respective Black Stars debuts, legendary players like Stephen Appiah, Michael Essien, Asamoah Gyan, John Mensah, Kwadwo Asamoah, have all said their byes to the team, but the Ayew brothers, even though they do not contribute anything significant now, are still present. We would definitely not end this piece without giving football accounts of how the Ayew brothers have been hurting the Black Stars. Aside glaring evidence of the brothers playing for themselves on the pitch, and flexing their powers to influence call-ups, Andre in particular has been sabotaging the team in ways shocking for a captain. From taking that needless red card in the final AFCON group game versus Comoros 2022, to missing a crucial penalty versus Uruguay in the final group game at the World Cup in Qatar. Again, only 3 months ago, in Ivory Coast, the Black Stars were in prime position to qualify for the AFCON knockouts until Andre strangely gave a penalty away to spark a late Mozambique comeback. It all does not go away without noting that since Andre took over as captain in 2019, the Black Stars have failed to make it past the group stages of back-to-back AFCON tournaments for the first in forever. The worst Black Stars captain ever. It gets even worse when you delve into some questionable coaching selections and on-field decisions which involve these same Ayew brothers. It is only in Black Stars, during the Ayew brothers era, that free agent Andre would still receive call-up and even start competitive matches ahead of the likes of informed forwards Inaki Williams and Ernest Nuama. Being the football-loving nation Ghana prides itself, many measures have been taken over the years to salvage what is left of the Black Stars. The GFA has undergone massive overhaul and restructuring. New Black Stars coaches have been hired and sacked, recently Chris Hughton. New talented players have been invited to join the fray, and yet the Black Stars continue to sink. But in the midst of all these radical changes and pick and drops where members of both the playing and non-playing bodies come and go, one party continue to hang around, the Ayew family, of course. Wonder when these authorities are going to realize what they are not doing right. Or maybe, they have, but they simply cannot do what is necessary.